here at the time, held a public hearing back in earlier this year in February regarding this matter, and I think it would be prudent to refresh the memories of counselors, and that includes myself as a new counselor, as well as the residents, as to the vision for the Sustainability Commission, as well as potential opportunities. So, Mike, you have the floor.
Thank you very much. Hello again.
Give your name and address for the record, please.
Sure. Mike Davis, Thayer Farm Road, Attleboro, Mass. So, first of all, thank you for having the opportunity to keep this thing going. So I appreciate the fires, keeping the fires going. I obviously quite disappointed. Love to have had this thing kind of behind us about 10 months ago, but there were 3 special elections, or one real election, 2 special elections, multiple chairs. It was like, when was the music going to stop, right? So the music has stopped. We know what we're doing and where we're going and who's involved. So I just want to make sure that I appreciate the effort. I really appreciate Councilor Tavares' time. He has, I think, as many years as I've been communicating with anybody on the council, I think I have probably more emails from Jonathan than anybody else. So we've really been, going back and forth on a number of things. And so I appreciate the tenacity and persistence in keeping this thing going. So that said, so I want to also note that there's quite a few people who have been over the last 10 months. I've really tried hard to keep everybody from showing up and being, somewhat very voiceful and in support and trying to do things, get this thing rolling. We've pretty much have already got a group of people who could fill this commission up tomorrow, which is you can't say that for very many commissions. There are people who are still there's still vacancies in quite a few of them, but there's a number of people who are here that have been contacting me for the last 10 months, and I've been updating them as to this is where we are. We've got this special election. There's the new ordinance, this, that, and the other thing. So there's quite a few of them. There's a couple of really small ones here. They are not props. We happen to have duty as grandparents to take care of a couple of kids. So, and interestingly, they have actually attended quite a number of these sessions. So either we're doing a lot of kid sitting, or they're very interested in this subject. So I'm going to assume it's the latter, since they're the ones that is why I'm here. I'm not here for me. I'm going to be fine. The earth is going to be fine, but they're going to have some struggles, and so that's the reason why I'm here. That's the reason why we wrote the environmental master plan to begin with. Every person who sat in that commission, they were all that committee, that task force. Every one of them spoke about why they were there. In fact, the document is dedicated to kids, and not just even this generation, but the generations to come. There's clearly a problem. In the last 10 months, you've heard 1 or 2 things that have happened that probably, we in Attleboro can't fix it, but we in Attleboro can absolutely tackle some local issues that we can do something about. We're not going to solve the problem of stopping fossil fuels and things like that. That's not in our purview. But it is important to kind of let people know that there are things that you can do in the city. So just to make sure. To define what sustainability even means, because if you've got a commission of people and it deals with sustainability, what does sustainability mean? The word sustainability really can ring true for anybody who is a super conservative person. It has economic and it has environmental tones to it. In essence, it means the most basic part of it is that you're able to replenish that which you consume. So I don't care if it's your budget. You do this on your personal budgets. You may put something on the credit card, but you know full well that you're going to have to pay that credit card, and you make sure that your income matches what it is that you're going to be spending. That's sustainability. That's sustainability of economics in your home. No different than in a municipal government. Your job is always to make sure that you've got a zero. You're not making a profit, and you're not taking a loss, and sometimes you have to balance. That's sustainability, and this what we're trying to do with this Sustainability Commission is just address things that will reduce waste, for example, or making sure that we are protecting land. There are 6 pillars involved with the environmental master plan. I'll try to off the top of my head, but sustainable development. You guys have had enough. I watch you guys. There's enough conversations about how important it is to make sure that we don't overdevelop, making sure that we can maintain what we actually build. That's one of the pillars. Another pillar is water security. Not just clean water, not just not polluted water, but making sure that you've got secure water that's nearby and it is in quality shape so that we can use it. Conservation is another pillar. So conservation, preservation of land and resources and things like that. So that's another pillar. All of our pillars, by the way, were all designed for Attleboro. We specifically wanted to make sure that the pillars were not, yes, they could work elsewhere, but these were things that were issues that were facing us. So this team of individuals would be working on these basic pillars. Renewable energy is another pillar. I don't need to say anything more about what that is and what it is, what's involved in it, but you do know that there's, we're not using the amount of oil and fossil fuels that we're using in the United States and around the world is actually increasing at a rapid rate. It's not decreasing. Even though renewable energy is increasing in terms of its use, it's not going fast enough to actually even mitigate the amount of fuel that's actually being used. I see here, waste reduction. Again, you know what these mean. You know what these terms mean. 30% of our food, 30% of it is actually dumped on a daily basis. And all the energy for that 30% actually goes to waste. 50% of energy is wasted in the United States. In the United States, we are using 3 times what can possibly be replenished. By definition of sustainability, that means we're not sustainable. The rest of the world's about 1.7, so 70% more. But in the United States, we consume 3 times what can be possibly replenished. We got to rein it in. So what we want to do is have a commission of folks that are going to be looking at these topics and trying to make recommendations, making sure that there was a lot of conversation toward the beginning around 10 months ago. Hopefully you forgot most of it, but the reality is that this is an advisory commission just like any other commission. We're not tied like the Conservation Commission is tied to certain regulations, wetland protection, for example. There are no regulations for us. We're just going to be an advisory group that is going to be, when I say we, I plan to submit my name as well. What we will do is advise the council, advise the mayor, advise departments. This is given the choice between a non-sustainable path and a sustainable path. Usually it makes absolutely no difference from a money point of view to choose one path or another. Some things are a little bit more expensive on a sustainable path, but for the most part, you get that back again, or some things are simply cheaper because you're going through a sustainable process. And wouldn't it be nice to have somebody around to say, choose A, not B, because B is a very expensive way and it's going to cost you more at the end. So that's what this group would do. It would be advisory only. There's no money attached to this. I'm not standing here saying this is going to cost you money. We don't know. We're going to come with recommendations that we ought to look at this or look at that. There are 120 or so recommended actions that we've put into the environmental master plan. Obviously, that's one of the tasks is to look at the environmental master plan, look at the recommendations, and start to tackle the ones that are the low-hanging fruit. So. But right now, it's all volunteer. It'll be volunteers. I'll be a volunteer, and there'll be 8 other people who will be volunteers, assuming, again, that I get that opportunity to play play on the commission. I want to point out that I would like to say that Attleboro, by having a commission, a sustainability commission, that we're leading the way. We're not. 58% of Massachusetts Commonwealth communities, 58% of them already have a sustainability infrastructure in place. Some of them have been in place for almost 2 decades. So we're very late to the party. And unfortunately, because we don't have a commission, and I'm highly advising that when this comes to a full vote, that it's a unanimous vote. That plays a big role as to how committed the city is. And when they do funding, grants, and awards, they actually look at that and say, how committed is this organization? How committed is this community to sustainability? So we need to start getting some check marks, because we don't have very many of them right now. Where we're a green community, and we only recently did that, even though it's been around a very, very long time. So we get a check mark there. But having a sustainability commission, you start getting some check marks. And if we start doing things that are actively supporting sustainability practices in the city, at businesses, and even from a home residential point of view, you start to get check marks, and then your grants and awards actually go up. You've heard over the last year, 5 years I've heard it, but you really can hear constantly, you can hear the amount of awards that are, millions and millions of dollars that are, it's tax money, but I'd rather get my tax money returned to me within the city than to allow it, have another city take it over. So and we have a great organization that knows how to get grants. So we'll advise what the grants ought to be, might put the paperwork together. There's actually a person who's interested in the commission who is a grant writer. So these are the kinds of things that, I just want to point out that I wish I could say that, we're leading the path. We really aren't, but we can. That's the thing. We're coming a little late, but we can come in hard. So I'm highly recommending that if you've got any reasons that, gee, I'm not sure about this, or you've got any questions, I'm always available to address the questions. I haven't had a question yet where somebody said, yeah, but what about this? That I didn't have a response to say, that's true, but you have to consider the other 2 dots that are connected to it. So if you're not for it, you want to let me know. We can answer questions here tonight as well. I'm not sure where it is right now. I didn't get a response back from Virginia, but did you guys get the petition of 225 names of people who said that they wanted to have the commission? Did you? I don't know if you got it somewhere. Okay, you did. So there's a petition. There were a number of letters that were sent back a while ago. We resent them. I'm hoping that you get a chance to look at it. We have quite a number of organizations that are 100% behind this, with lots and lots of members that are residents in the city of Attleboro. So they've contacted me, whether it's Audubon or Keep Attleboro Beautiful, or it's the 10 Mile Watershed, or it's the ALT, the Land Trust, or schools. Got some great stories on schools. We won't have time to do that tonight, but they're in it. They're in it to win it. And so, these are the folks that we want to start to use that energy. That's renewable energy. So I just want to point out that if you didn't get all that support stuff that will help you make that decision, you should take a look at it. So for that, I don't know if that, Jonathan, does that give you a sense of what we're trying to do?
That's great. We can open it up to questions if any councilors have questions.
Any questions, yeah.
Yeah, Mr. Angel.
Thanks, Councilor Tavares. Thanks for coming down, Mike. I know you've worked extremely hard with yourself and your group and everything, and done a lot of great work, and I really appreciate it. And it just shows that we have a lot of people that care about it. I had several questions, and luckily you answered like every one of them. And mine was more towards the grants and the awards and state money, and if we needed a grant writer, and you answered all those. So that's great. I am very happy about this, and I'm looking forward to this, and and hopefully the council fully supports this.
I appreciate the support and the comments, I really do. I will also mention that not only have I chatted with just about everybody about this over the last 10 months, but Councilor Angelo I've been working with him about the questionnaire for the personnel department. So all of those questionnaires are already filled in. So they're all done. It's just a matter of now of getting to the point of passing it over to the personnel committee, because obviously the appointees, that was another thing that was, the members will be appointed by the mayor. It'll be under the mayor's office control, and then the appointees will be confirmed by the city council, just like every other committee and commission. But I appreciate the guidance you gave me to help the folks that are interested in this.
Yes, Councilor Bennett.
Thank you. Mike, you mentioned that 58% of the municipalities in the state already have a, quote, sustainability infrastructure. I was wondering if you could expand a little bit about what that means. Does that mean a similar advisory commission to what we're proposing here, or is it something more substantive that maybe the city doesn't have set up yet?
I did not plant that question. It's a fabulous question. So I use the word infrastructure on purpose, as opposed to 50% have a commission. By infrastructure, it is they have embedded in their municipal organization some level of sustainability. Most of these communities, most of them have a director of sustainability, an office of sustainability with a director that runs it with staff that manage it. So that's not uncommon. One of the best communities that I've run into, that was one of the researching things we did when we were with doing the environmental master plan. I got to say, one of the best communities, if we could just emulate, I love the word recycle. I'd love to recycle everything these guys do in Lexington, Mass. They have an office of sustainability. They've got a director. I think they've got at least one, if not two, staff members. They produce a newsletter. They're constantly telling people how to reduce their usage of whatever. So by infrastructure, I mean that they've got an office that someone can contact. There's active people, just like we have a finance department, so it's actively like that. And then probably the most minimal of that 58% are communities that have got like a commission or a committee that runs is doing what we're proposing. Does that answer the question?
It does. Can I ask one follow-on?
Yeah, absolutely.
Just an additional point to this. So in your view, how does not having the commission at this time harm the city? And then once that commission is set up, do you see more work for the city here to incorporate something more formal into our day-to-day operations?
So the first part was, what harm do I see by not doing this?
Yes.
We're not doing our part. If we're not doing our part, we're not pulling our weight relative to what is an obvious train coming down the track. If you're going to struggle to actually vote yes on this if you don't think that there is a problem out there. So if you don't, but there's not, the number is, it went in the last 3 years, the number of scientists, I think I'm going to get definitely, I may get the dates and slightly the percentages slightly incorrect, but it was like 3 years ago, 98.7 or 98.5% of scientists, research scientists, published scientists, say that this climate change issue is real. And it bumped all the way up to 99.99% of those people have. So there's a very small percentage of people who don't think that there's an issue that we should be looking at. So the answer is that we need to be doing our part to solve this problem. We can't wait for somebody else to do our legwork, to do our homework, to do our work for us. Second big takeaway is, by not doing this, you're going to miss the opportunity to get funding for things that you won't get funding for projects you're going to have to support, or I'm going to have to support, And the third thing is that there are going to be, by not taking advantage of the funding opportunities, by not actually knowing what your choices are, some of those choices, somebody will be standing here saying, if you do this, you will save this amount of money by doing X, Y, and Z. So you'll miss those opportunities. So from an economic point of view, it's a really bad choice to not listen to somebody and listen to the advice or recommendations that actually is going to save you money. So that's what's at risk if you don't do it. And the second part.
Well, I guess I can sort of, because I think you sort of touched on it, but I think my primary concern for the city is we get this commission set up, we have the opportunity to get these grants, we start getting this grant money, and then because we don't have the infrastructure, as you mentioned, built into the city, our opportunities and ability to execute on those grants may end up, all for naught anyway. And so I guess leading into that, what's the harm if we don't? Well, we don't get access to these grants, we don't get access to that money is sort of what I heard, and we're not doing our part as a city. Filling that second part, I would envision that some follow-on would be needed, that we would need to formalize this into the day-to-day decision-making and operations
Absolutely.
of the city.
Absolutely. I mean, I hope it becomes really obvious. Isn't that the goal? That this becomes so obvious that we should actually have an office and fund an office because it. So I'm not saying that that's the slippery slope of things. I'm saying that is where this potentially can go. And the council, whatever council it is going to have the opportunity to say yes, no, or maybe. Our goal, the goal of the commission will be to try to make sure that this thing becomes an obvious decision for you.
Yes, Councilor Holmes.
Thank you. I mean, I like your question, but I think that would be showing success if it went in that. I mean, that's the hope is that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Councilor Dolan?
Thank you. Thank you. I support this completely. And you're right, we do need to do our part. And you're right that we need to do it for the future generations. So most of us are older, not all of us, but I have a son, and I think it's important to do it for future generations. And I appreciate your patience and how long that this has taken to get through. And again, I completely support this, and I thank you for being patient.
I appreciate that, and I really like you looking to the left because my fire comes from here. So I do appreciate that.
Yes, Councilor Juan.
Well, I also echo that sentiment. This is both our present and our future that we are talking about, and not just as an Attleboro, as a human race. One of the things that we discuss, in my opinion, frequently right here in council regards buildings. We talk in one way, shape, or form about buildings pretty constantly and how we keep them sustainable. And I wondered if you could make some comments. You didn't mention buildings, but what can you say about where buildings fit in, and city buildings we're thinking of?
Mm-hmm. Well, one of the recurring conversations you guys were always having, and I had when I was on the council, is maintenance of those buildings. If they're not done right, you can pay me now or you can pay me a lot more later, is what the phraseology is. And when you look at a sustainable building, there are certain classifications, and you're familiar with one of them because we just spent $250 million on one, and that's the high school. And that is certified as being a higher level of sustainability than the average building, or for that matter, any building that municipal organizations have built. So that is called, it's LEED certified. But it's LEED certified for silver. There's different ratchets. The more you do, the higher your certification is for. And what happens is that because you put into it things that are going to save insulation or glass or doors or certain things, buffers and air systems, hybrid air systems, the more you do to it, it's not only addressing the sustainability issue, but it's also saving you money. And it reduces the amount of maintenance that's going to be required off into the future to fix those buildings, which is where you spend an awful lot of time. So one of the ideas would be to come to the table and say, that's where, anytime you build a building, make sure it's sustainable and that it's LEED qualified. You're going to know a lot more about LEED qualifications as we go along. Another thing is that it's quite likely, I'm pointing out those things that are in the recommended action plan, is to recycle buildings. Don't just keep on raising them and then rebuilding them. Find a way to see if you could recycle them, reuse them, or at least parts of them. And so that should always be part of the conversation. Not all the times will it work. Sometimes, the building has to come down because of, I don't know, asbestos or something like that. You can't fix it. But at the end of the day, recycling a building or repurposing it, I should say it, is another way to deal with buildings. And you don't use more open space, and you don't consume other places and things like that. So there's a lot of good that can come from looking at the basic line. All I'm saying right now is when you look at building any building, make sure that, or renovating a building, just let's look at the sustainability aspect of it, because it's going to save you money if you do it.
Councilor Bennett?
Thank you. On that point, Mike, how do you envision the Sustainability Commission working with existing commissions, such as the Municipal Building Commission in the city, to sort of further that vision that you have?
Another good question. Well, the hope is that we're making recommendations to them as well, or they come to us and say, we now that we're talking about sustainability, because we're really not talking about it today, right? So if we start talking about it, it's amazing how many things get done just because we're talking about it. So once it's known that we've got a commission of folks, maybe the building commission would come to the sustainability commission and say, we're planning on doing X. What input do you have? And what's wrong with taking inputs from other people? There's nothing wrong with it. So I'm hoping that what we work, whether it's the planning, think about sustainability as almost the hub of a wheel. You can see each of the spokes that come out of that wheel touch every single office in the municipal organization. Commissions, committees, boards, it'll touch them all. It's going to be a very tough job to kind of make sure that you get successes and not get run over with just simply the details. But whether it's planning, think about it. Conservation Commission, Municipal Building Commission, equality. We've got because there's such thing as economic and environmental justice. It touches everything. So that's going to be one of the biggest headaches or challenges, however you want to call it. But it's going to, is to try to make sure that you're just not inundated with so many things. So I hope it works both ways. Is the answer to the question. I hope they come to us and say, how can we? This is what our game plan is. How might you guys be able to help us out? Is that good?
It is.
Yes?
Thank
Okay.
you.
Any further questions for the speaker? Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Davis. I appreciate that.
Thank you very much, Councilor Tavares. One or two supporters.
Well, personally, I think good stewardship of our resources here in the city is important, and I believe having a commission of volunteers that are dedicated to looking at ways that we can become more efficient and reduce waste, among several other things, will be really important moving forward, and I think will be an asset here in the city. So with that being said, I'd like to propose a motion and then propose an amendment to that motion. So from the docket of January 17th, 2023, I entertain a motion to approve the following amendments to Section 2-21 to amend Chapter 2 of the revised ordinances of the City of Attleboro by adding the following section, Section 2-21, Sustainability Commission.
Second.
Thank you. I move to amend the motion with the following proposed language for the addition of section 2-21 to chapter 2 of the revised ordinances of the city of Attleboro, a copy of which has been provided to each committee member.
Second.
Thank you. Okay, so at this point, what we have here in that's in the committee minutes is the latest version of this proposed sustainability commission. When I first started tackling this issue back in the end of June, beginning of July, I spoke with several city departments, and I had found that a lot of there wasn't much input from, for example, the planning department at the time. I spoke with Gary Arazian. I spoke with Stephanie as well in his office. Davies. I spoke with Nick Wiley, the conservation agent. I spoke with the building department. Spoke to Bill McDonough and members of the Conservation Commission as well. My goal was to get as much input as possible in crafting the language of the Sustainability Commission, because what I didn't want to happen was the language to be rushed, and for us to look back and say, gee, I think we probably could have written this better. I think we could have contemplated some other things. And again, not saying that it's going to be perfect, even if we do move forward with this, but at least we will have, done our due diligence in doing as much as we can at this point with the information that we do have. So with that being said, go ahead, yes, Councilor.
So did the city solicitor review this?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, he did. Yep. So he was the last person on my list after I had gathered that input from those individuals. Yes, Councilor Dillon.
Quick question, so this that we made copies of earlier,
Yes.
this is the most current and up-to-date?
So that is the amended version that we are going to vote on.
Okay,
committee,
I just wanted to be clear, because
Yes.
in our motions, it's not the same one.
That's correct.
Okay,
Yeah, that's
I
correct.
just wanted to be
And so
clear.
actually, in that packet, there's actually 3 versions. So there was
Yes.
an original version that was drafted. There was a version that was revised by then Councilor DeSimone.
Yeah.
Which I believe is currently what sits in the committee minutes. And then there's that version that I've revised for us to consider this evening.
Okay, thank you.
And I will say overall, there aren't any substantive changes. There are some procedural tweaks. I think consistency in language was one of the things that I wanted to make sure we had across other boards and commissions. So for example, the membership selection process I think was simplified. I think it makes a lot more sense to allow the mayor to appoint the 9 members and for the council to confirm them. There was a previous version that contemplated a designee of the administration and of the council, but in light of not wanting to add any further burdens to the administration, the council, or any city departments, I thought it best to simplify that, at least at this point. These are all things that, of course, with more information or if things change down the road, we can address those. But that was the reasoning behind, some of those changes, as well as in section 2-21.4, that proposed section. Again, just adding a preceding section that's consistent with other boards and commissions. So that was the theme when I was looking at some of this language. The theme was, how can we make this more consistent with the language that we already have in our ordinances? So that was big for me. So, any other? Yes, Councilor Bennett.
Just to clarify, the motion currently is to accept the amended
Yes.
language, and then we will vote on the
Yes.
motion.
Yes.
Thank you.
At least that's what's on my
Yes.
list. So.
Well, make sure.
Yeah, and wanting to make sure I get the procedure right too. So thank you. Yeah. All right, very good. Any further questions, comments? Okay. All right. Well, hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Excellent.
I move to approve the motion as amended, adding section 2-21 to chapter 2 of the revised ordinances of the city of Attleboro.
Second.
Thank you. Now I think we will vote on the motion as amended at this point. Any other questions, concerns at this point? Okay, very good. Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. That concludes the business for ordinances, elections, and legislative matters. I move to adjourn at 7:35.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We are adjourned at 7:35.
I don't think. Are you next?
I heard you, Mike. Thank you, thank you.
Okay, I would call the License Committee together at 7:30,
Yes. Yeah.
7:35. Thank you. I'm going to wait just a second here.
So I get halfway here, and I realize that it's reusable, and my kitchen counter. I'm like,
All nights.
I'm not gonna do this for the whole night, we have the meeting, I have a meeting, and opening, and I'm doing the, and like,
Okay, let me just be a little louder. Hopefully we can continue. We have a lot of business this evening, many visits in the past week. I think I lost count. But from the docket of November 21st, 2023, I would entertain a motion to approve the Class 3 renewal application for the following. That would be Auto 1 83 LLC at 83 Dickens Street with 10 customer spaces and 31 display spaces.
Second.
Thank you. And everything is totally in order at Dickens Street. There's been no changes at this location really in the past year. And I don't have any, I'm not concerned about it. Are there any other thoughts anybody would have there? Okay. So all those in favor?
Aye.
And opposed, none, and that would pass because I'm in favor, 3-0. On the docket of November 21st, 2023, I would entertain a motion to approve the following 3 Class 1 license renewals, and that would be for Priority Automotive, DBA Chevrolet Buick GMC at 203 Washington Street with 84 customer spaces, 288 display spaces. National Van Builders, Inc. on 70-84 Pine Street, and also 7 Parker Street, with 8 customer spaces and 45 display. And JT Automotive, LLC, DBA Kia of Attleboro at 795 Newport Ave, 46 customer and 195 display spaces. Thank you. We have a second. Again, I was fine about all 3 places. These are for new vehicles. Is there any discussion? Here we go. All those in favor then?
Aye.
Aye, and that passes 3-0. And from the docket of November 21st, 2023, I entertain a motion to approve the automatic amusement device license to Mueller's Supermarket, DBA Market Basket, at 1200 Newport Avenue with a carousel and a mini truck rides, and they seemed fine, even though I didn't try it out myself. But
Second.
and so I have no issues here. Any questions?
No, just a comment. My kids are well acquainted with those rides.
Do they have a particular favorite here?
I think any of them will do for them. So.
Okay. Even in November weather, huh?
Even November was.
Doesn't matter, because they're outside. Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Pass 3-0. And the bulk of the visits, which basically I met a lot of people. From the docket of November 21st, 2023, I entertain a motion to approve the following 24 Class 2 license renewals. I'll make a comment on one or two of these, because you may have some questions. But C and Millennium Motors, 1844 County Street with 10 customer spaces and 8 display spaces. 97 Emery Street LLC of 97 Emery Street with 7 customer spaces and 30 display spaces. South Attleboro Auto Sales, Inc. of 411 Washington Street with 10 customer and 30 display spaces. GMV, Inc., DBA Byrider of 957 Washington Street with 12 customer and 55 display spaces. 100% Auto Wholesaler, LP of 21 Washington Street with 10 customer and 48 display spaces. Mario, can't pronounce this correct, Feria, DBA Pinecrest Motors of 2117 County Street with 5 customer and 15 display spaces. State Line Auto Brokers, Inc., 1115 Washington Street with 6 customer and 42 display spaces. Blasius Auto Group, DBA Blasius of Attleboro, 800 Washington Street with 6 customer and 124 display spaces. Landmark Auto Sales, Inc. of 537 Washington Street with 3 customer and 15 display spaces. This is a tough one for me. Papatoniitis, and correct me if I'm wrong, Automotive Group, Inc., DBA Toy Cars Motorsports, DBA Pleasant Auto Center of 676 Pleasant Street with 17 customer spaces and 95 display spaces. Landis Enterprises, DBA Landis Family Auto, 859 Washington Street with 9 customer and 27 display spaces. Route 123 Village Auto Sales, Inc. of 1076 Pleasant Street with 15 customer and 15 display spaces. Attleboro Shell Auto Sales, LLC of 182 Pleasant Street with 19 customer and 10 display spaces. Auto 183 LLC of 83 Dickens Street with 10 customer spaces, 31 display spaces. Joe and Mary, Inc., DBA Gas Plus of 80 Pleasant Street with 10 customer and 24 display spaces. Cam's Automotive Services, DBA Paris Auto Body of 21 Chartier Street with 9 customer and 20 display spaces. Bristol County Auto Sales, LLC, 227 Pine Street with 1 customer and 10 display spaces. Blue and White Motors, Inc. of 1815 County Street with 4 customer and 15 display spaces. Auto Mazed, Inc. of 826 Washington Street with 13 customer and 80 display spaces. Lime Rock Motors, 722 Washington Street with 4 customer and 48 display spaces. Your Mechanic, Inc., DBA Better Auto of 473 Washington Street with 10 customer and 4 display spaces. New England Cars, Inc., 923 Washington Street with 7 customer and 33 display spaces. And Lean's Auto Repair, Inc., of 141 Pine Street with 7 customer and 29 display spaces.
Second.
Thank you. In most cases, all except 2 or 3 cases, I was able to speak with the owners or representatives who worked at these places. And in certain spots, I pointed out where they might shift around cars on occasion. But in all cases, the numbers came out correct. They were within these numbers. You may be thinking of particularly of 100% auto. I'll make a special comment there. I am very pleased with the work they're doing this year. And there have been 2 complaints this year with 100% auto. In both cases, those complaints were satisfied, and I might even say more than satisfied. And in both cases, they were used cars that there were problems with after they purchased it, and the owner has taken care of that to my satisfaction. Are there any questions? Please.
Where's Auto Mazed? Is Auto Mazed 2 defunct now?
No, Automazed is next to Blasius now.
Right, next to Sakura? Or did he get rid of that
Next, right, it's just across a side street
from
between.
Sakura? The restaurant, the Chinese restaurant?
That area, yeah.
So he had Auto Mazed 2 across the street. Is that defunct now, do you
That
know?
is defunct. Do you remember the 2 gentlemen that came before us earlier this year? They're not to be found. We've sent letters out to them 3 times over the course of the year, and there is a new company in there. They are not on this list yet. So I did talk to the owner there to make sure, the new owner, and he assured me that they were, trying to remember their name.
Or wasn't Auto Mazed 2 the same people as Auto
No,
Mazed?
they weren't called Automaze 2. They,
That's all right.
yeah, it's not coming to me.
Okay, and then Byrider,
Yes.
I'm not sure if we had the discussion about them parking cars across the street. I think they're not supposed to be doing in that empty lot. Remember talking about that? Anyway, you can check on that.
I would be glad to go back on that one. I checked their lot, which was correct,
Right, and they park stuff across the street, which they're not supposed to be doing.
okay? Then I would ask, is this about that subject?
Yeah.
Okay, fine. Go ahead, sir.
Where they were parking, they own that lot. I think where they were parking,
No, it was the old, they were parking cars,
at the old,
something
Animal
art,
thing?
Noah's Ark.
yeah, they own that.
They didn't own it when
No, the father owns that.
because last time
He
I
owns that
checked.
property for a long, long time. He has owned that.
Well, they don't have a license to park across the street.
It is their property, though, so that's a discussion. I mean,
If they own it,
They do own
they're
it.
not licensed to park across the street. So when I had talked to them previously, when I was there,
Mm-hmm.
when I was doing licensing, nobody that I spoke to even suggested that they owned it,
they,
which they very well may.
yes, they
But
do.
they're not licensed to park cars across the street.
I will go back there next Tuesday, because I'm heading to
Yeah, just check it
California
out.
imminently, so.
Well, I think that property now has been bought by,
If they do
Nova
own it,
Farms,
all
by
they have to
Nova
do is amend
Farms.
their license, that's all.
well, it doesn't matter now. Nova Farms owns that property now, but prior to Nova Farms buying that property, the people that running Byrider, the father, it's a family-owned property. That was a family-owned property where they were parking their cars on that lot. So I'm just saying, I mean, it's their own lot. Whether they have the right to or not is, to me, debatable, but it's owned by Nova Farms now anyway. So I don't think they'll be parking there further unless Nova Farms is letting them, because they're gonna be
Where the
starting
building
to
is
build.
located, everything was in shape.
At Byrider is
At
definitely in
Byrider.
shape, yes.
There was not an issue there.
Okay, thanks.
What, are you all set?
I am.
Yes.
My expectation is that if they were parking there, regardless of who owns it, or if they owned it, they would fall within the one unregistered car limit. Therefore, they wouldn't be allowed to unless they were licensed to store those vehicles there for sale. So my expectation is that they wouldn't be allowed to store those vehicles somewhere, like 10 or however many vehicles somewhere else. That would be an issue.
So I spoke to one of the top people there.
Regardless of if they own it.
They were all all of them
Right.
had plates on.
They all had plates that
They
were
all
registered?
had plates.
Okay.
All of them had plates.
Thank you. Thank you. Any other questions?
So this might not be directly related, but just going back to Automazed, I noticed they don't seem to be selling cars
No,
anymore.
they're
I think
not.
you said it's a
What
new
they have
group
done
that's
is
there.
they're leasing their property to Blasius. Blasius is not selling the cars that are on that property. They're only selling the cars on their property.
Say that again?
He is renting his land out.
To Automazed?
Automaze, which is next to Blasius now,
Okay.
is renting his property out to Blasius. So there are cars, Blasius cars parked on Automaze's land, which they are not selling at this point. Someday they will, I assume, move them across to Blasius.
So Blasius is 800 Washington Street.
Right, at 800, those numbers are correct. But there are additional cars on the Automaze side. Please, John.
So does that fall within their license to be able to store vehicles on a separate lot outside of theirs?
No. Because there's no storage. If they had storage on their license, because you can have display, customer, and storage like State Line has. But, say that again, Automazed is, Blasius is renting to Automazed?
Automaze is renting to Blasius and not using any of their cars. It's not Automaze cars on Automaze's property. It's Blasius cars, which they're not selling at this point. They assured me they would not sell any of those cars unless they move them over to their property. So I am open to guidance on this one.
Yeah, I think we're gonna need to figure that out. I haven't been up there in a while, so, because there was Automazed next to Sikora, and then there was Automazed 2 across the street.
Right.
So we don't have a license for Automazed 2 right now. So I don't know if there's any cars over there or not, but I don't know what's going on with Blasius and Automazed. It's not making sense to me.
So the 833, this is 826 where Automaze Inc. is, which I'm talking about, which is on the same side as Blasius. 833 was where Automaze was.
So then what's 826?
That is next to Blasius. What's Blasius number? 800. You need a minute here?
Well, I mean, we can just vote them out and then figure it out before we vote them out of committee, at full council. If you want to do that, or if nobody agrees with that, we can,
Councilor Holmes?
Thank you. We can, the ones that we're still questioning, I think can be pulled out of the amendment, out of the motion, and kept in committee.
But he didn't have them.
Okay, I would like to do that myself.
oh,
I
so
agree.
Blasius is the old,
Automaze.
Blasius is the
the
new
old, I forget the name of it.
Oh, I don't know what it was called before, under a
Okay,
different
so all
company.
these cars on Blasius are for Blasius. Yes?
On Blasius property, yes,
124.
correct.
So, if you want to hold them, that's up to you. if you want to hold those back, or if you want to vote them and wait.
No,
to
I,
get-
I think the Blasius one, I would like to hold because it's a kind of a unique situation. Councilor Blair, I noticed you were reacting. Was there something that you were thinking about this?
You can't legally park vehicles on another lot. This has happened before. And then somebody comes in and says, do you have a 2017 Tahoe? And he says, yeah, I'll go get one. You can't do that, Ty. You can't go across the street, move a car over, and it becomes saleable. End of story, Ty. These people, I don't know them, I got no personal interest. I'm just telling you, you can't do that, Ty.
Yeah, so Auto Maze, 826 Washington. Sorry, I'm sorry, were you done? I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No problem.
I'm just looking up on the map to see,
No, I'm just trying to move it along, Laura.
I understand, 820,
Running in circles.
I understand, but we don't want to vote these out if they're
No,
not.
no, I wouldn't vote them out. I wouldn't feel comfortable voting on them.
So I'd hold Auto Mazed, and, I mean, Blasius, we gotta find out what's going on over there, because the 826 Washington Street for Auto Mazed isn't the original Auto Maze, that was Auto Maze 2,
Yeah,
that building, right there.
correct.
And then this is Blasius right there.
Yes.
So his property shouldn't extend over here, as far as I remember, when I used to go to take care of Blasius. I would hold Auto Maze and Blasius.
All right. So I'll report out all but Automaze and Blasius.
Second.
Thank you. So all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And that is all the business that we have tonight. We'll close at 7:57.
Second.
All those in favor of adjournment?
Aye.
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 Aye. We are adjourned.
I'd like to call Public Works Committee to order at 7:57. I just have a couple motions. From the docket of November 21st, 2023, I entertain a motion in accordance with Chapter 1, Section 12 of the revised ordinance of the City of Attleboro to approve expending funds in any future grant amendments regarding the receipt of a Mass Development Brownfields Redevelopment Fund grant in the amount of $165,000 to perform environmental remediation at the site of the former American Metal Craft Building located at 53 Falmouth Street.
Second.
Thank you. So basically speaks for itself. It's for the remediation of the old factory there. And there's no matching funds needed. Does anybody have any questions? Peter?
Laura, isn't there a building there now that's monitoring the groundwater and whatnot? Is that the lot we're talking about?
Say that again? I'm sorry?
Isn't there a building there, a small building that's monitoring groundwater and whatnot?
I don't know I don't know the answer to that.
It's right across the street from Attleboro Collision, right, on that corner? Is that what we're talking about, that one?
At 53 Falmouth. Attleboro Collision.
The body shop on Falmouth.
Why can't I picture it in my head?
I don't know. Never mind, Laura.
I don't know the answer to that. I can find out if you'd like.
I just was curious, that's all.
Yeah, you're right, it is Attleboro Collision, you're
Huh?
right, it is across from it.
Right, but I don't know about what you're talking about,
Used
the,
to be the old Antier building at one time.
Oh, really?
anybody else have any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. From the docket of November 21st, 2021, I entertain a motion to transfer $9,875 from account 112410005783000 Citywide Reserve Fund for transfer to account 142010005300181 Public Works Fire Suppression Services.
Second.
Thank you. So this is for the mandated 6-year maintenance for the hydro testing for the central fueling station at Lamb Street.
What was that figure again, Laura? I didn't catch.
$9,875.
Boy, has that gone up since I was in business.
I'm sure it has.
Oh.
Does anybody have any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. From the docket of November 21st, 2023, I entertain a motion to transfer $2,270 from account 11241000578-300 Citywide Reserve Fund for transfer to account 163010005301001 Recreation Professional Services to replenish funds used for the Briggs Pool dye test.
Second.
So this is just paying Recreation back for paying for the dye test to find the leak at the Briggs Pool. Does anybody have any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. From the docket of November 21st, 2023, I entertain a motion to transfer $12,456.24 from account 11241000578-300 Citywide Reserve Fund for transfer to the following: $9,700 to account 142010005301001 Public Works Professional Services, $2,756.24 to account 14201000548-040 Public Works Supplies Equipment.
Second.
Thank you. So this is for, I don't know if you read the backup or anything, this is for a cement building for DPW for the irrigation system. I guess what holds the irrigation system building is like a plastic shed type thing. Apparently people keep breaking in, thinking maybe there's copper there, thinking maybe there's something valuable there where there really isn't. So the break-ins obviously were a problem, but then the last time they broke in, they also did some damage to some of the equipment. So clearly, we don't want to, spend our money fixing equipment. The $9,700 is for, and I can't remember the gentleman's name that does our work.
Damasio?
Yes. So that's for Damasio to do the work, and we will be ordering our own supplies, and that's the $2756.24 out of the Public Works Supplies account. And so this is for a cement building with a steel door,
That's for
etc.
the construction of, not materials, is what you're saying.
I don't know, I think that 2,700 might be
Material?
small materials, maybe not the major stuff that Damasio would bring in, but stuff that we can do. It's cheaper for us to order our own smaller supplies for the project. That's what Mike told me.
Okay.
Does anybody have any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. And my final, I'm just calling for a public hearing from the docket of November 21st, 2023. I entertain a motion to call for a public hearing on December 5th, 2023 to discuss the following loan order. I don't need to read it in now. This is just a call for the public hearing. It's for the $500,000 for the rehab of existing sewer pipes.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. And that is all I have for Public Works. I'd like to call for an adjournment at 8:03.
Second.
And all those in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned, thank you.
Transportation and Traffic Committee is canceled for this evening.
All right, I should call the Finance Committee to order at 8:04. Counselor Conti is not here tonight, so on the committee, it's myself and Counselor Reynolds. We have one piece of business tonight. From the docket of November 21st, 2023, I entertain a motion to authorize the school department to pay the previous year's school bill totaling $173.33 as identified in Mr. Furtado's communication. Name of the vendor is Skills USA Massachusetts, $173.33.
Second.
Motion is in order. It's just the previous year's bill. Any questions? Everything's in order. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. That is all we have. I move to adjourn at 8:04. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, we are adjourned at 8:04. IT and infrastructure is canceled tonight.
Hello, reporting for zoning and land use this evening, I have two motions. From the docket of November 21st, 2023, I entertain a motion for the council to approve the additional special act that relates to the October 17th, 2023 vote number 9, accepting 66 public ways in the city of Attleboro.
Second.
Thank you. This is just for the special act for the 66 streets that we already accepted. Any questions?
Nope. Yes. Didn't we vote this already?
So we voted it, and now this is just to do the special act, so it's just confirming here.
Yes.
Yes, so this is kind of a second vote, but all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Okay. From the docket of January 4th, 2022, I entertain a motion to amend zoning ordinance 17 to allow for accessory dwelling units on qualifying residential properties.
Second.
Thank you. So I wanted to kind of do a little bit of an overview of where we were, where we are, and where hopefully we're going. So this was first introduced as new business December 7th, 2021. We had a public hearing September 20th, 2022. Then we had another public hearing February 7th, 2023. And then we had our final public hearing October 17th, 2023. And the planning department had their last public hearing was November 6th, 2023. So this has been around for quite some time, and I'm really hoping to have the council's support and seeing this over the finish line at this point. I sent some emails along that had the newest version of this, and then I also wanted to do an amendment, and I'm hoping that this passes tonight. So the amendment is simply, the planning department was calling it accessory suites, but the state and everybody is identifying accessory dwelling unit. It's just an easier way to kind of call this what it is. We would almost be renaming something, and it's just very, just as Councilor Tavares was saying earlier, how he wants ordinance to kind of run and just kind of make sense. It really doesn't make sense for this would be the only municipality that would be doing something different here. So I simply wanted to do an amendment that's just saying change accessory suite to accessory dwelling unit throughout the document.
I'm okay.
Second.
Second.
Thank you. Councilor, or Vice President, sorry, Kobus.
I'm okay with this. Have you run this past Gary Oration? And to make sure that he is also okay with this? Because I assume he had a specific rationale for it. And your rationale makes sense, and I support it. I think it's the right thing to do, and I think we should vote it out this way. But before we vote it out of the full council, I want to make sure that Gary is supportive of it.
Sure, so I can certainly reach out to him. Did you receive the vote from the planning department?
I did not.
Okay, so they actually, the planning department, during their meeting, they are the ones that actually changed it to accessory suites. And I think that the logic and the thought process behind that was because they want to make this specific to in-laws, but even if we are going to pass this, it would basically be accessory dwelling unit is the appropriate name to go by. We would be kind of, like I said, creating our whole new kind of process here and whole new title for something. So it doesn't really fit into what this ordinance is, or this zoning change is trying to accomplish here.
Okay. That makes sense.
I'm not on the committee, but I actually would approve this because, I mean, even we know that the Attorney General has been talking about these kind of documents, and she's calling them accessory dwelling units, as is everybody else throughout the state. It only makes sense for us to stay in that realm because that's actually what we started basically with, is we were calling them accessory dwelling units, not suites.
Councilor Dolan?
I think that the planning, and I agree with the accessory dwelling units, and I think the point of the planning board calling them suites is because they wanted to stick with, like she said, the in-law, meaning they want, so technically, when you had an in-law before, to make it legal, you had to have like an egress that went into the main house. So from my understanding and from what this council wants to do, and the original goal of this ordinance was to make it less strict, meaning you don't have, it doesn't have to be your in-law, it doesn't have to be a family member, they don't have to have access to the main house. So I think that was the point of them calling it suite. If you want to read what they wrote as definition, right at the top of the page. So I would be in favor of the accessory dwelling unit per se, and, but I think that's why they called it a suite, because they're kind of sticking with the old in-law, not technically legal, have to have an egress in the house, blah, blah, blah. So I would support the accessory dwelling unit.
Any other comments or questions? So we're just voting on changing the name, so all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? The motion passes. So now it will be called ADUs from here on out. I would like to ask for another amendment to delete the first section, the first sentence in section 4C10 and replace it with the following. An ADU shall maintain a separate entrance either directly from the outside or through an entry hall or corridor shared with the principal dwelling, significant to meet the requirements of the state building code for safe egress. So this is where we would be deleting that, what Councilor Dolan was just speaking to. They do not need to have a separate, they would have a separate entrance here. It does not have to be through the main house. You do not have to walk into one door and they have to be connected in some way. Any questions or comments on that?
I think this goes back to what Councilor Dolan had said and what we all agreed with when we first brought this out, is that we wanted people to be able to use this property and not just to relatives. So I'm in favor of this as well.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. Okay, this is something that we're making some big changes right now, and I can also speak to, just one second, Councilor Dolan. You know, when I was speaking to the administration about this, which the administration's favorable about us doing this, we're not, one of the areas that kind of got brought up during the public hearing was money being exchanged. You know, what if people are renting it? We're not touching that. We're kind of just introducing and hopefully passing this change to the zoning in our community, and we're not. So in other words, if it's happening in a home and there's rent or there's a family member living there, we're really not going to be as involved in that. Does that make sense? This is allowing residents to come forward, and there will be a process in place for them to be able to do this to their home, and we are making sure that there's, like I said, a process in place, and that we're going to make sure it's safe. A lot of times individuals are doing this and they have like a raised ranch and they're trying to have a kitchen in the basement, and it's causing kitchen fires because there's not a high, so we're trying to make this safe but allowing them to do it. And so I do think that this is the correct approach to this. But go ahead, Councilor Dolan.
Sorry, I don't believe the one that's in our motions is the newest version. Would that be accurate to say?
That is accurate. So
It is not the newest version?
That's correct.
Okay,
That's correct.
I just wanted to be sure.
That's correct. So the one that's in the motion.
Was in the
this
email.
evening, yes, so the email that I had sent out and said this is, because I apologize, this has been, this has gone through 3 public hearings, and I can certainly, this, like I said, this is something big that we're doing, so I'm willing to kind of take feedback if you want me to kind of organize an email or structure this in a way, but this is something that I would like this council to vote on, because it has been around for a while. Go ahead, Councilor.
Yeah, I agree. It has been around for a while, too long. And I think, you're amending it, if you're going to vote it as amended, is that what you plan on doing tonight?
We just changed the name.
ADU and the.
And then hoping to change the sentence it's straight from Mass General Law is what we're doing here. So that, deleting that first sentence of 4C10, and then I'm introducing directly from Mass General Law.
Okay, and so you plan on voting it out of committee tonight?
I would like to, but if there's questions or someone wants me to gather some more information, I'm willing to do that, but I'm not willing to hold this indefinitely. I do think that we need to act on it.
No,
Go ahead.
and I'm certainly not suggesting that. I'm just thinking that maybe it should be read. Yes?
No.
Okay. Or not. Or not. Whatever works.
Council Builders, President Gomez?
I agree that we should move forward and make sure that it gets voted out with this council before the session ends and all of that. I am supportive of making it ADU. I think that makes complete sense. I don't like not seeing I would like to see exactly what we are voting out. It like, I get not reading the full thing, but I don't like that this isn't exactly what we're voting out.
That's completely fine. So I forwarded the certificate of vote, and so I'm basically going from the planning department.
From the planning board, yep.
On November 7th, 2023, because remember, there was another one that says November 15th, 2022. It's not that. So it's November 7th, 2023, and that is where I was making the amendments. But I can certainly just organize that a little bit better and make sure everyone has that information. And what I can do is actually have this in Word document. Since we did change the amendment of ADUs, I can update that and then bring it forward to our next committee meeting. That way everyone has it available to view. Does
With an updated copy, right?
exactly.
Yeah.
I'd feel more comfortable.
With that
I would too.
With that updated amendment. So right now we still
Go
ahead. We still have on the floor this, do you want to hold off on that, or do we want to move forward with the definition change, which is from Mass General Law? So this is the deleting the first sentence from 4C. So this is accessory suite shall provide a building code compliant means of egress through the principal dwelling. That's what Councilor Dolan was speaking to earlier, where you would have to go into the main house to get to wherever you're going. But
Right.
what we're changing it to is the Mass General Law definition, which basically says, obviously it needs to have a safe egress, but it does not have to be, it can be connected to outside. It does not have to be attached to the,
and I'm okay with that change, absolutely.
okay, so we can vote on that, and then what I can do is I will clean up the motion and then forward it to everyone, so, and hopefully the next committee meeting, we can have the discussion and then move forward.
So we're voting on the amendment now,
Yes.
correct?
And then we
Two
can,
amendments.
well, we voted on one of the amendments, which was changing the name, and now we can vote on the next amendment, and then we can
And rescind the
vote.
second.
Yes.
Got it.
Do you want to keep it in committee then and wait till like, we're gonna, okay.
I would.
That's-
It's so that we could send out the overall,
And I think I would have
Draft.
Virginia
Send
give
it to
her, give her
everybody.
the clean copy
Yes.
and be like, hey, can we put this in my motions? That way, when we're all looking at it, like the same thing with ordinances, like the clean copy should be what we're looking at.
That's completely fine. So let's, all those in favor of changing the sentence?
Aye.
Aye. Oppose? Okay, that motion passes.
the amendment.
The amendment passes. And then I will keep this in committee with those updated changes and provide everybody,
Rescind my second.
provide a clean copy. Perfect. So any other questions or any information that you would want before I bring this out of committee? Because I can still connect with Gary or anyone if there's any lingering. Yeah, I think it did get into an area, like I was saying, with rent and asking if family members are gonna, but we don't even have to kind of go there. We can just, we're just saying what we're allowing, and then we're gonna kind of have a policy in place and not really get as involved in that part of it. So, so that concludes the business this evening for zoning and land use. I'll call for an adjournment.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, we are adjourned at 8:20.
Thank you, Counselor Holmes.
I'd like to call City Property and Claims Committee to order at 8:20. I have several matters on the docket tonight. From the docket of November 21st, 2023, I entertain a motion to accept a donation of gift cards totaling $325 from the Holiday Spirit Committee to the Health Department Outreach Office.
Second.
Thank you. I believe it's pretty self-explanatory. Do I have any questions or concerns? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, that motion passes. From the docket of November 21st, 2023, I entertain a motion to declare the following treasurer's office furniture as surplus and available for disposition. One bookshelf with 4 shelves. It's a 34.5 by 59 foot. It's in good condition, and the value is $100. One office chair with adjustable wheels. It's in good condition, and it is also valued at $100.
Second.
Thank you. Again, I think it's pretty self-explanatory. Any questions or concerns?
No.
No? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That motion passes. From the docket of November 21st, 2023, I entertain a motion to declare the following school copier as surplus and available for disposition. It is a Rizzo model RZ220 copier, and it is inoperable.
Second.
Thank you. Again, pretty self-explanatory. Any questions or concerns?
No.
Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, that motion passes. From the docket of November 21st, 2023, I entertain a motion to declare the following Recreation Department equipment as surplus and available for disposition. A 1990 John Deere backhoe. The VIN number is T0510CG768310, and the condition is very poor.
Second.
Thank you. Again, pretty self-explanatory. Any questions or concerns? No? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, that motion passes. From the docket of November 21st, 2023, I entertain a motion to declare the following inspection department vehicle as surplus and available for disposition. It is a 2011 Ford Crown Victoria. The VIN number is 2FABP7BV9BX180692. Has 180,000 plus miles. It's in very poor condition.
Second.
Thank you. Again, another, kind of says it all. Any other questions or concerns?
No.
All those in favor?
Aye.
That motion passes, and that is all the business City Property and Claims has this evening. I'd like to call for an adjournment.
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. We adjourned at 8:23.
I call Personnel Veterans Human Services Committee to order at 8:23. Mr. President, myself, Council Waterman, Council Blair. From the docket of November 21st, 2023, I obtain a motion to transfer $2,300 from account 1124100-578300 Citywide Reserve Fund for transfer to account 1152100-542-020 Personnel Supplies Office Equipment.
Second.
These, thank you, Council Waterman. These are for the ID badges for the employees so when people are coming in the doors, they just know who is who. They can present a badge, just someone, and anybody's just not walking in the door. And it could be late at night, or it could be anything else. Anybody have any questions?
No.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. All right. For the docket of November 21st, 2023, I entertain a motion to approve the following resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into a memorandum of understanding between the city of Attleboro and Gilbert Perry VFW Post 115 regarding the GWOT Monument Campaign.
Second.
Thank you. So this is for the Gilberry Square, for the monument, and I think this is a great thing that they're doing. And they have a group together that's gonna be taking care of this. Any other questions?
No, I think this is wonderful. There
Absolutely.
you go.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. All right. On the docket of November 21st, 2023, I entertained a motion from the Personnel Director, Linda Veen, requesting to add a new position on the exempt classification plan. A review of the Personnel Assistant 2 position has found that the obligations, functions, and level of authority and responsibility have changed significantly over the past several years. Therefore, the mayor hereby requests your honorable body add the position of Assistant Personnel Director and placing the position at grade 10 on the exempt classification plan. The mayor fully supports this recommendation. I ask that your honorable body approve this change.
Second.
All right, thank you, sir. So basically, this is taking and making the personal assistant official, and it's gonna go from grade 7, step 8 to grade 10. And at the same time, this is also gonna give that assistant personnel director more authority in the absence of the personnel director. Basically, when this person was filling in, when we were without a personnel director, the person was doing a great job and getting a lot of stuff done. And this just currently puts her classification where it needs to be. Any questions? Counselor Dolan?
So, I don't have this motion.
It was changed. It was added in later. It was missed and
So-
added in.
I thought I was gonna be able to follow along, but I couldn't because I couldn't find it. So this is like a promotion almost, like changing somebody's job to assistant director as opposed to hypothetically if they're called clerk now, I don't
Yes,
know.
personnel assistant too. And that puts it more in line with what she's been doing already.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, yeah, I just wanted some
Yeah.
details, that's all.
I think this is a really good thing, and it's taking care of someone that is doing a great job, already doing the work, and just getting it in line with what they're already doing.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions? Council Waterman?
Well, I was hoping, thank you for giving me your thoughts. We have not had a chance to talk about that, so appreciate it. But it's not just for this person, it's because the position requires a greater level of competency. More. Can you speak to that a little bit more?
Sure.
Just a little background on that.
Okay, Council Blair, thank you.
We have said before that there's a lot of people that do extra in a department, but we're not doing it for the person per se. We're doing it because the job requires more. So we're changing the position status and the requirements. This isn't a personal raise. It might be a raise, but it's not personal.
Correct.
Is that what you were looking to hear?
But that's it. That's exactly what has happened. You're 100% right. And
Don't
it's-
say that because I'd want it in writing.
But no, you are spot on, and it is for that position, and takes care of the fact that in the absence of the personnel director, which will happen, and is a person that is that position warrants it. That position is just being brought. That position is being brought to where it should be and where it is at, and that's just taking care of that. Any other questions?
No, I was just gonna go along with what Peter's saying, and what you're actually asking is that we
It
had
is.
discussed this, is that the new personnel director is going through every single job description and upgrading them and changing them and making them more in line with what everybody should be doing in the job today, not maybe what was done 10, 20 years ago. They haven't been updated in years.
Right.
And so that's happening, and this is one of the positions that it's actually happening to, because so many more jobs are being done by that particular position, that it deserves a 10 versus a 7,
Thank you.
All
no
right.
matter who has the job.
Yeah, I just wanted to have a little more discussion about that.
Yeah,
So I
all
appreciate it.
good, thank you. All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. From the docket of November 21st, 2023, entertain a motion to transfer 35,000 from account 1124100-578300, citywide reserve fund for transfer to account 11521000-530180, personnel safety study. Thank you, Peter. Council Blair?
Oh, that's perfectly all right.
All right, sorry.
As long as it's not Peter Who after January 1st.
How could we ever forget you, sir?
Oh, it's gonna be easy for you, believe me.
All right, so basically, the city is trying to bring departments up to date with the with OSHA, and this is a step in the right direction. Any questions, comments, concerns?
No.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes 3-0. That is all for Personnel, Veterans, Human Services Committee. I call for an adjournment at 8:31.
You got anything else?
Second.
All right, thank you, sir. All those in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned at 8:31.
I'd like to call public safety to order at 8:31. I have one motion this evening from the docket of November 21st, 2023. I entertain a motion to transfer $1,372.01 from account 1210100-587060, police vehicle and equipment replacement account, to account, 1210100-578020, police bills from the previous year for an invoice from FY '23 that had an unanticipated cost increase.
Second.
I think that's pretty self-explanatory. I mean, it's just an increase. We all get those in every trip to the grocery store, so that's what it is. Any questions or comments?
No.
Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Move to adjourn at 8:32.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned. Thank you.
God.
There is one item for the special committee for tax abatement review, but Councilor Conti is not here, so I can cancel it for this evening. There's no opposition to that. Special committee for tax abatement review is canceled for this evening.
Special committee on classification compensation is canceled for this evening. Call for a meeting at the next appropriate time.
And that's a wrap.